ladies. I am Shannon Mitchell, a Black millennial business owner, the founder of Shalo Glow LLC, an all-natural skincare company that helps you glow from head to toe. I am a champion for your daily self-care, business care, and intentional wellness.
Hey, y'all. I'm Christine Gautreaux, a white social justice advocate, an international speaker, coach, published author, and dancing social worker who helps you upgrade yourself and community care.
Together, we are Women Connected in Wisdom, a podcast grounded in the 8 dimensions of wellness, and the co-founders of Women Connected in Wisdom community.
And we like to get together every week for intentional conversations about how to be wise in business, relationships, and wellness, and bring on expert guests that can teach us things and give us resources on how to do this.
Help me. Help me in this area, right?
Help me.
And like you said, we talk about it all the time, right? Is there a reality of balance? There are those seasons where, hey, all this stuff is going on. Right. Or even in life, you have different people that have different stories. And we know that in certain families, that this month is difficult. Or around the holidays is difficult, So how do we balance the ebbs and flows of our emotional and mental wellness through everything? I think when you said that earlier, it makes a lot of sense.
Well, and we've often referenced Stacey Abrams' book, Lead from the Outside, where she talks about work-life Jenga, right? Mm-hmm. I just had the images you were talking about that in my head. Is I have one little, when you play Jenga, how you have that one little thing where everything's precariously kind of weaving back and forth on, right? I got to shore it up. Because a crash may be coming if I don't shore it up. But, let's be proactive, right?
No, really.
And I should be able to get some rest this weekend, which I think will be, between the spring forward in the United States. For those of y'all that are not listening from the United States, we have a thing called daylight savings time in the United States where they push the clocks forward for an hour at this time of year. So when you're used to getting up at 6 a.m., it feels like in your body it's 5 a.m. And I don't know about you, Shannon, but this messes with me for 2 to 3 days easy every time this happens.
So this is when I've actually been super adulting this year. And we've been good. Last year, I remember Manifestation Mondays, you and the ladies talking about spring cleaning. I've been early for the spring cleaning this year. This week was the first week we were actually to the farmer's market at the time that we said, instead of behind. And even though we were consistently behind, we talked about Cecile and the schedules of the seasons. And maybe we're just at a different time than we expected because it's colder, and we were giving grace and just flowing with the system the way we were running it. But I've been intentional about transitioning well because we know we have so much going on, and I've been resting throughout it. And as we've worked on all of this tax organization stuff for the past few weeks. And so I think that this has helped me pace my time a little bit better through the transition.
You have really been doing a good job.
Thank you.
So woo, woo. Yeah,
and
again, I think if I wouldn't have stuck a full week's conference in those 4 days, I'd be doing it. Yeah, why not? Why not?
The things we stack. Right? And it has me thinking about so many different things and ways that we can apply it and talk about it in the community and stuff this year. I'm really excited about it. But I would love to let's bring on our guest and hear more about what she has to say. Because I have a few questions about laughter, and I know laughter really helped me. If you ladies have listened to the episodes when I talk about laughter helping me with depression in middle school. So now, tax day, we're talking about adulting. I'm interested to see what I'm going to learn in this conversation.
You want to give folks the definition of what we're working with, and then I'll read her bio?
Absolutely. Emotional and mental wellness is about being aware and intentional of our feelings in all situations. It includes having the capacity and tools to handle and express these emotions in a healthy manner and the ability to learn and grow from experience. Emotional well-being encourages autonomy, useful decision-making skills, and striving toward good mental health.
I love that definition.
Me too. I need to memorize all the definitions.
I love being reminded of it. Talking about memorization before I read her bio, that is one of my skills that I've never really been great at. I've always wanted to. I have people in my life that are in theater. I have people that stand up and they do this incredible poem and it's memorized. And I want to do that. But I don't think it's in my wheelhouse. So I like the little holding your phone like where people can't see it and doing a little.
For me, I feel like my voice, it can sound robotic and really like too intentional, too professional for some people. So I feel like it'll help me, sound more flowy and genuine.
Oh, if you memorize it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to give kudos to the fact that now, after 2 years, I can say all 8 dimensions of wellness. Because before, I would get to 7 and look at you and go, Shannon, which one am I forgetting?
Did I not say? No, it's always a question. And then you go back through them again, the ones you said already.
Right?
Yeah, pretty funny.
All right. Well, I am excited for our guest today, and I'd love to go ahead and read her bio and call her up on stage.
Let's do it.
As Chief Adventure Officer of the Adventure Project, Amy Angelilli, I know I probably just butchered her last name, and so when she gets up here, okay, great. Amy is also a certified laughter yoga leader and a 20-year improvisational theater performer. She teaches improv classes for the stage and facilitates play shops for real-world personal and professional applications. She is a soul sister. That's not in her bio. I'm adding that. She has performed and taught in an improv festivals and events all over the country and beyond. She has facilitated improv experiences for summer camps, conferences, retreats, colleges, and businesses. Currently, she leads a 5-level improv training school in St. Augustine, Florida, and facilitates team building, bonding, and development sessions for organizations in person and virtually. Please welcome to the stage, Amy.
Hi.
How are you?
I feel like I have to add a bunch of things after my name because you gals have all these fancy credentials.
Oh, you don't have to add anything.
I'm just somebody who laughs.
No, come as you are. Yes.
Right?
What does it say? A 5-level improv training? I think you have enough. You're doing enough, Amy. Yes.
And laughter is not to be underrated, as you heard us. Yeah. We need this more than ever.
Yes.
Well, I think the main point of all of this is that we need to remember childhood. Or if we can't remember it, we need to look at a child.
Mm-hmm.
I was... I had a doctor's appointment earlier today, and I was watching this little kid, and he was just having the time of his life. And he was bothering his big brother, and then bothering his big sister, and then bothering his mom, and then bothering his grandma. And I was like, come on over here. Like, let's do some stuff. And kids laugh all the time, and they don't know why they're laughing. They're just laughing because they have joy. And we as grownups almost have this sort of like challenge me mentality, right?
Yes,
like,
yes.
I bet you can't make me laugh. I bet what you're about to do isn't funny at all. And it's like, well, all right. I mean, you're just doing yourself a disservice.
Absolutely. Yes. No, it's true. It's true. And that's something that I've worked on over the years, right? Is how do you have boundaries with people that you don't know, right? And also be open to whatever they have to bring. Like, let this person show you who they are. And you talking about the challenge reminds me of when people would tell me to smile, right? I was a restaurant manager at Papador running around, and people would be like, you're so pretty, you should just smile. My thing was always like, you should make me laugh or make me smile, and then I'll do it. But to just walk around and smiling is like, your cheeks will start hurting after a certain point. I know I would take that pain over other pain, but what do you say when people say that?
I'm always smiling, and I shouldn't say I'm always laughing and smiling. I am trying to always laugh and smile when I'm out in the world. You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
I'm here now on my laptop. I have my, comfy yoga clothes on, no makeup. I feel like Lady Gaga at the Oscars, no hair, no makeup.
You kind of look like her a little too, Amy.
My niece, who's about to turn 5, this is what she says when she talks about working. come on, Aunt Amy, let's work.
The
right?
typing.
But like
Yes.
when I'm out in the world, and this is improv did this to me.
Yeah.
Like I have this sense of curiosity, and it's not, like I'm not being nosy. I'm just observing, like
a wonderment.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And awe.
Yes.
And we often aren't curious because we have been exposed to almost everything we can think of because of the internet. But it's like when I saw that little kid today, I mean, if they hadn't called me back, I would have, we would have gotten to be BFFs,
Right.
My time was cut short.
Right.
But I wanted to know all about this little kid. And even the family, because the family looked interesting, but I'm just naturally curious about people.
Me too.
And when that happens, I feel like there's like a smile behind that curiosity. And so I just got back from a little solo road trip. I drove up to see my parents. They live in the Outer Banks. And then, I spent a few days on the return home, stopping and just wandering.
Yeah.
And it's just fun to observe buildings, observe people, observe signs, observe menus, observe something
Yes.
that you're not going to see as you sit here at your laptop or whatever. And in turn, I got a lot of smiles along the way. I got a lot of hellos along the way, but we don't act like that anymore because we've taken away that sort of like porch culture, as I call it. When you would like sit on your porch and you would just like chat with
the neighbors and the people walking by.
Yeah. Because now we like, drive into our garages, shut the garage, go into the house, go into the backyard that has a privacy fence around it. We have like insular situations.
That's a good point. I love that you said that though, because I love little kids, right? I love happy little kids, any language. I'm like, oh, listen to their voice, and I think I do exactly what you said, the wonderment. But I think I had to be really intentional about it. I feel like there's different environments. There's like the environment that I live in when I believe you can choose to be free. It's about your mental state and how you see the world, your perspective, how you see yourself, right? But then you also have to be realistic with the social environment. And so with that, and like I said, being a kitchen manager, we had this rule where if a guest was within a certain amount of feet from you, you would make sure that you speak, right? Don't let this person walk by you and not say anything. And so now it's a habit that I have. And I want to always try to make sure that the posture of my heart is correct. And I'm doing things, again, from a genuine place and not just because I was taught and I don't align with it, or I'm just trying to fit into a box that people say I am. And so I'm like, ooh, I don't have to be so hospitable to everybody. I'm not working everywhere I'm at, but I do absolutely have that communal, like, hey, how are you doing? My name's Shannon, and we can talk easily, so yeah. I love how you put it.
I appreciate you saying about when it's authentic to you, because when I'm on airplanes, I generally like to sit on the window side so I can get out a book and be by myself. That's a hard place for me to interact. Like I found that I've done it many times, even though I say it's hard. But as much as I travel, I generally don't enjoy flying. So it's not, I won't be the instigator,
when you're flying.
Yeah. But if somebody starts chatting, or if there's a little kid, they always just insert themselves,
Yeah, they do.
I'm exactly like that, Amy.
Or dogs. Someone with a dog or someone else with a kid.
I love it. Yes.
Me too. I was just thinking the same thing, because people, if they met me on a plane, would think I was an introvert, because I do the same thing. I catch the window aisle because I'm in wonder of looking out the window. I'm still like a little kid on the airplane. I'm going to take cloud pictures. I'm going to look for shapes in the clouds. I'm going to look for shapes on the ground. And I'm going to be like, ooh, we're taking off. Ooh, we're landing. Ooh, right. And I'm a pretty frequent flyer. But y'all were saying about awe, right? Yeah. I wanted to, because I know both of y'all love books, so I wanted to give this resource. It's a new book out by Dacher, Keltner. Have y'all heard of it? It's called Awe, the New Science of Everyday Wonder and How It Can Transform Your Life.
It's so true.
But it's really talking about those moments that are, create wonder. And kids do that, right? Y'all know my nibblings, 3 years old. Amy, I have 3-year-old twin nibblings, nephews that are in Boulder. And we FaceTime on the regular. And we laugh and giggle and make up words. And, and they're at 3-year-old. So right now we got a lot of potty humor going on. We have a lot of, they went to the zoo recently with my mom, and their whole mission was to see which animal had the stinkiest butt, because they're 3. And they determined it was the elephants.
Get off, Jay. When we were little and we didn't know that circuses that had elephants were bad, I remember my brother at the circus watching the elephants intently. And afterwards, we asked him what his favorite part was, and he said the elephant poop. And now he has his own little kid, and she's all about the poop and the pee. And
right.
She taught me, Aunt Amy, dogs pee, poop, and fart outside. People pee, poop, and fart inside.
It's important distinction.
I was also thinking, y'all, about, we titled the show Spring into Happiness. And Amy, you were talking about those porch sits. And, Shannon and I live in the South. We're in Atlanta. And I live in a cul-de-sac and have a porch. And springtime is one of those happy times for me because people come out. Like, we start working in our yards. We start hollering at each other. We start gathering, out in the streets, where we didn't during the winter because, it was cold or wet or rainy. And we were doing the thing you were talking about going in and not seeing each other. But spring, we start to emerge and connect and say hi and check in with each other. And it kind of, especially in neighborhoods that have kids, it kind of feels a little preemptive to summer. It's like that opening up and blooming towards that.
Well, also, you said you live in a cul-de-sac. I used to live on a dead end in the South, and everybody would just be hanging out all the time. My one neighbor, she called all those street conversations the street meetings.
Right?
Yeah.
They saved my bacon through the pandemic. We used to remember back at the beginning of the pandemic when even outside you weren't within 8 feet of each other. Yeah. We would all gather our lawn chairs. It was like Friday night. We'd all drag our lawn chairs out after being on the computer all day, and and we'd all gather in a circle, 6 to 8 feet apart, and just have a drink and talk about the week and talk about how long we thought this was going to last and laugh and cut up and, sweet, sweet memories that, it's precious, those connection times.
That time period that you're talking about, I actually did sit on someone's porch, a friend's porch. And I was like, oh my God, it took a pandemic for us to do the porch thing. Because she, like you, Shannon, worked in a restaurant.
Yeah.
Worked, 6
hours are crazy, right?
A week. Yep. Yeah. And so here we were sitting on a porch, relaxing. Then I found a dog a few blocks away from where we live, just walking up the street.
Yeah.
And he joined the porch.
Dogs are the best porch sitters. Can I tell you? Like, they're so fun to porch sit with.
So that's where they want to be. They think it's like their playroom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're all out there trying to get them to behave, like sit nice, shh, behave, be a good neighbor. And I was like, what? I'm trying to have fun.
Right? Dogs and kids, right? We should take our cues from. Absolutely.
Well, I feel like that was my inspiration for my little, wander over the past few days. I had so many dog kisses. This one dog jumped up at me, like just jumped on me, stuck his tongue in my mouth in a gift shop. I said to his people, I didn't even get dinner yet. This gentleman is forward.
What kind of dog was he?
He was a mix and just couldn't be any cuter. Just was just so lovable. You know, to backtrack to something that you said that I earmarked and made a note of, you were talking about awe. Okay. And you mentioned a book that you had read. And I wanted to mention an article that I read. Don't ask me who wrote it. But the article was about awe and our lack of it. Because even if we go to some place we've never been to, we've already seen it in newspapers and magazines and books and the internet. And so we have to work harder for awe. When I got off the train in Venice years ago, that was one of my most favorite moments of awe. And I started crying. And I said to my now ex-husband, I said, look, the water is really there. It wasn't just a lie. the pictures were real.
I look forward to the water too.
You saying that, Amy, brings up a story that I think about when the first time I went to Disney World. I was an adult. I didn't go as a child.
Oh, wow.
I was an adult, and I met my sister there with my 4-year-old. And the first moment that I saw the castle and the fireworks, I started tearing up. And of course, I was with my sister. She looks at me, she's like, are you crying? And I was like, I'm just having a moment. But I realized when you said it, it was that moment of awe. And it was something that I had seen my whole childhood. You see it on the movies, you see it in the shows, but to be physically present with it and experience the body sensation of it, I was a little bit eclipsed. I was like, whoa, it was, yeah. Shannon, what's a moment of awe for you?
Ooh, that's a great question. Ooh, I have one. So it was when I was upside down in the rainforest in Costa Rica for my birthday. Amy, so one year I went to Costa Rica and traveled by myself, met a young lady. Asia's been on the show. She's been on the podcast now. Met Asia. We had been RAs together in college at Kennesaw State. So I went to go travel with her and we took a bus 3 hours away. She was staying in Escazú. We went to Mano Antonio. And the next day we were supposed to go to Zipline, right? So I have to paint this picture for you guys because this was crazy. Okay. We drive 3 hours on this bus. We decide to go to the beach and it's kind of overcast, right? It's kind of gray, but it's beautiful. And there's one of the rocks. I'm like, I feel like I've seen this picture before, right? But it's not the day that you see in the pictures because the day you see in the pictures is beautiful oranges and purples and colors you've never seen. Right now, it looks like it's about to rain, right? And it did start raining. We go across the street. It's raining cats and dogs. And thankfully,
you were in the rainforest, right?
Wow. No, Amy, it literally just clicked. Hadn't thought about it. We're not even going to talk about that. Okay. So this is why you need community. Sometimes they point the obvious things. Just clicked. Okay. It's been years, but going into my 30s with more wisdom, right? So I guess not so obviously, not so surprisingly, starts raining in the rainforest. So thankfully, again, we're really nice to the server. He takes us home up this winding mountain. Now it makes sense why he was able to drive because he lives in the rainforest. Okay. So he took us back to the hostel we were staying at. She leaves her phone and everything. He's really nice, brings the phone back the morning before we go to Zipline. And with me being so far away from home, with this being my first time ziplining, I thought it might be canceled. Right. But what actually ended up happening was this beautiful view. And so now it's like you think the rain is coming and that you're not going to get what you thought you were going to get, or it's not going to be as beautiful in a life situation. Right. But actually the rain clears the air for your vision is what I saw. But clearly maybe they're used to that in the rainforest, but I was in awe. It was beautiful.
Ooh, yes. That sounds delightful.
Yes, a little adventure. Oh, and Amy, that brings me to you because you're a traveling adventurer, right? So
I was just thinking about my first time there, and how the rain doesn't stop anybody from doing anything. You lean into it even more because hey, you've come to the rainforest, so we're just all going to get wet now.
Thank you for that, though, because that's life. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
things are going to happen. What are we going to do? And so, talking about springing into happiness, I would love to talk about how you and your laughter yoga, how that helps leaders, and what you do when you facilitate the offerings that you have to help bring more happiness into people's lives and their work experience.
So, like you were talking about with your 8 things. There are things with laughter yoga, and I'm not going to tell you how many because in case I forget one.
No problem.
So it's breathing, stretching, clapping, laughing, meditating, and relaxing. I think I got them all.
I like that.
And so I'll tell you a quick little sidebar that has to do with these. There are seven things. I'm going to be offering more offsites, and I'm working with this organization that helps connect companies looking for offsite activities with people who offer offsite activities. And the gal said to me 2 days ago, she said, "We're almost ready to go live, but we need to know how people will be laughing. We need more of an explanation on that point of the 7 things. Like will they be laughing at jokes, or will they be laughing because they're going to be improvising? Because we know you also do improv, or like what will, like, how will they be laughing?" And I thought I had this conversation, but it's quite possible that I completely skipped over it. We're laughing at nothing. Like we have laughter exercises, right? But we're laughing for no reason, but with a purpose. Right. And that's the part that, like, literally nobody can wrap their head around before they do it.
Except 2 and 3-year-olds. Exactly. They do that naturally.
Exactly. Because when I do them virtually, and the employees are at home, and their kids are like in the next room, like listening, like, what's going on in there? And I'll tell them, bring the kids in, because the kids help the parents, sort of become less tense.
Yeah.
And then the people that are watching the kids, then, it kind of it has more of a snowball effect, because the kids are like, they're not like, what do I have to do? Is this right? Like, I feel awkward. The kids are just
doing it and laughing.
Yeah.
Laughing is contagious, like a yawn. You start laughing, and the next person starts laughing, and then they catch their laugh, and then they can't stop, and you start again, and here we go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So at the beginning, we're laughing in that awkward way because I'm teeing up exercise, like cell phone laughter. Pretend you're getting a call and you're laughing as you're getting the call. And people look at me like, are you nuts? Right?
Let's do it.
When we do it, now we two are doing it. The longer you do it, the more you're going to do it, because you're going to see each other doing it. You're going to hear each other doing it. Your energies are going to mix, and then you're going to end up doing more of it, and then we'll move into, I don't know, maybe zombie laughter, or maybe wild animal laughter, or whatever it is. And yes, it is ridiculous. The point is, if you say yes and give yourself permission to do it, because all of this is about giving yourself permission, right? To laugh. Then you become a catalyst for everybody else in the space.
I love it. But and we might not have time to go into all the different laughs. What I love about this is that me and my roommate in college, we used to do this, and we would start laughing, and we would just change it and go to, like, we'd be really silly, and just make up 3, 4, or 5 different laughs and just keep going. So are there different purposes? Like, we know with the Kukuwa Africa dance, we have one of our authors. There's different motions that mean different things. Are there different laughs that mean different things?
So I don't think it's so much about meaning as it is about the breath work, and the body. So there's ultimately 3 laughs. There's the hee-hees, which are in your neck. Take a deep breath and let out your hee-hee. You feel that in your throat, right?
You have a great hee-hee shit.
Okay.
We rarely choose the hee-hee, right? Mm-hmm. So we choose the hee-hee. Then the next one is the ha-ha, which maybe is a little bit more in alignment with, our natural laughter style. Okay. But our ha-has are in our chest. So go ahead and take another deep breath. Ha 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 ha. Okay. And then you know where we're going now, the ho-hos. The ho-hos are in the tummy, right? The Santa Claus laughter. Deep breath in.
Oh yeah, the deep breath. And then do you go,
I'll say, I will walk people through that. And then, a couple exercises later, I'll say, all right, now I want to get all the 3 of those into one exercise.
Yeah.
So make sure as you move around the space, if we're in person or if we're sharing it, via a square on Zoom, make sure you hit all 3 of those as many times as you can. And, those are the 2 most important things with laughter yoga, the breathing and the laughing. The breathing, because we don't take enough time to intentionally take breaths. And it's so good for us.
Hey, y'all, this is a great place to take a break, take a deep breath, and hear from our awesome sponsors that make Women Connected in Wisdom podcast possible. Shannon, we are so grateful that Shayla Glow is the sponsor of the Women Connected in Wisdom podcast. And I wanted to take this moment to ask you, when you think about the people who use Shayla Glow, who are we talking about?
That's a good question. I think about 3 groups, really. 1, the group that's removing hair, right? So whether you're using laser hair removal, waxing, shaving, you got to make sure that you're putting back what you're taking out. The second group, I think about those with dry skin and the problems that might cause, right? The scars, itching, burning, whatever the situation is, you definitely need all 3 steps, right? The exfoliation, making sure you're taking the dead skin cells off. The oil, putting in the moisture, and then the shea butter with the aloe, sealing it, helping you heal. Those things help both groups, right? And third, for the third group is those with chronic illness. The story is personally from cancer and different diseases that our population is dealing with on a daily basis throughout families as individuals. So I'm thinking about my mom and my grandmother and those around me with the same generational ties, right? And what positive, healthy habits we can start to make sure that we're maintaining our wellness, especially because the skin is like the cape, the exterior, the shield for your immune system. So with COVID, we have to be intentional about covering ourselves. And those are the groups I think about.
I love it. And you know what else I love about your product? It's all natural, handmade, and it smells great, y'all. So yay.
Tested. Yes, esthetician tested and approved. Yes. What about you? When you think about your company, what groups of people do you think about?
Well, I work with individual coaching clients. I work in community classes and with corporate teams. And with all of them, I use a strength-based, embodied approach to help folks connect with themselves and access joy, reduce burnout, and build resilience. Especially during these times, I think we need it. I think we need all the #partnership power we can get.
Yes.
Such a simple thing that we don't intentionally, like Shannon talks about being intentional, we don't intentionally think to do enough of. And then the laughter is the other thing that we don't think to do enough of. All those other things are, of course, great. A lot of times people who work hunched over desks will get up to walk around, take a stretch or whatever. But rarely will people, get up to take some breaths and to, take some laughs. Right? As part of that breath work. And you think of any staff meeting, team meeting, like literally 5 minutes at the top to take a few breaths, to take a few stretches, and to take a few laughs without even doing an entire session. It just sets you up in a good frame of mind emotionally and physically too.
It's such a release. Like in interplay, we have a term called X-formation. It's a made-up word. Like, it's the opposite of information. It's X-formation. And laughter to me is X-forming. So anytime I X-form, I have more expansiveness and room for growth and room for just more like interaction and, just that expansiveness you feel in your body. And I always feel that after laughter yoga or after laughing.
Me too. And I love it because I do have stretch on the checklist, fresh air, right? Not to make it logical. I'm intentional about not making it too logical. Maybe I'm too logical about that too. But I think that adding the laugh back to it would be good. A stretch and a laugh. I'm going to do it.
Do you all know Goldie Hawn, the actress?
No.
Yeah. Well, of course.
Goldie's daughter, the actress, Kate Hudson.
Yes.
Kate Hudson's mom
Wow.
is Goldie Hawn.
Okay.
And she used to be on a show in the 60s called Laugh-In. And she is a laughter yoga practitioner.
I didn't know that. That's really cool.
We actually have a move called the Goldie. She practices by herself in her mirror in the bathroom every morning to get her day off on the right foot. But we have something called the Goldie.
Okay.
So you do a little bend. If you're sitting,
yes.
Great. So you don't have to do a bending your knees because you're already there, right?
Got it.
So you're going to lean over at the waist only to the point that feels good.
Okay.
You'll cross your wrists. And then as you come up, you're going to zigzag your arms to the point where you make a Y, getting that nice chest stretch. Looks like you're looking at your boobs. I call this the chicken. Right?
Yes.
And then with your arms up in the air, you'll say the word yes.
Yes.
All right, let's do that.
Oh, I like it.
Let's do one big Goldie.
Yes.
I love that.
I think I'm adding it. I try to say yes. I think it's important to balance yes and no. Right. And I also think it's important to tell yourself yes more than you tell yourself no. So I love doing a Goldie in the morning to start my day off with a physical yes. I like that. Thank you.
It also helps us with our hunchy.
Yeah.
Almost all the stretches that I concentrate in laughter yoga are for this.
Yeah. Anytime I think about this, I think about the bend and snap. Okay. So Amy, we're about to get to our wisdom in action, but before we get there, I have one more question because we talk about work, right? We talk a lot about how we help other people. You as a laughter yoga practitioner and everything that you do to help teams and individuals, how do you make sure that you maintain your wellness in this area as you pour out to so many people?
Oh my gosh. What you all were saying at the top about helping to run something. And yes, it was fun. And now I need my cup filled. A couple weeks ago, one of my improv students was doing a little whodunit murder mystery. And it was on a night that I didn't have to teach. I didn't have one of my own shows. It was completely free. I was the first one to buy a ticket. And I was so happy I could sit and laugh and eat and drink and just be in the moment without worrying about, is everyone learning? Is everyone thriving? Is everyone,
which part is next?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love doing all that. I love teaching. I love facilitating. And like Christine said, sometimes you don't want to be resilient, or sometimes you don't want to be in charge, or sometimes you don't want to have a responsibility. You just want to be. Mm-hmm. And so those things I look for to place into my schedule so that, I'm just showing up and being whatever the thing is and leaning into that without the responsibility part of it.
I hear you.
That reminds me of Sandra Dalton. I believe it was our guest, Sandra Dalton, who did the different types of rest, Amy. And what you're describing is creative rest. And thank you for that reminder. Like when we are creatives and when we're outputting and when we're doing and facilitating and going, right? And creating groups and creating classes and creating laughter, that often we need to pause and take a creative rest and be in awe or enjoyment of somebody else's creative thing that they did. It really, yum. Thanks for that reminder. Like, what a joy that it was one of your students too, having a murder mystery. Like,
oh yeah, so fun. Or even like a traditional yoga class. Like, I've been practicing traditional yoga for 20 years and I'm still not flexible. I still go. I'm in the back laughing at myself, but I always feel better, stepping out than when I stepped in.
I hear you.
I'm gonna keep going.
And I was thinking about you earlier. I said I can't wait to have this conversation with Amy because one of my my followers, I met her the other day at Le Méridien. I was out with my Shea Butter company, and she does yoga, right? So she has a mobile bartending business, but Stephanie was in this yoga pose, right? And she was talking about how sometimes she'll love it, sometimes she'll hate it, but she loves going every single time because an hour after you have that great feeling and you're like, this is why I do it. So when somebody doesn't see the difference, if they've never done laughter yoga and they're like, okay, I do normal yoga, I've done hot yoga, all these different things, what do you see as the connection between the laughter and the physical wellness that it's helped you and the people who come to your classes with?
Well, I remember being in a laughter club in Denver, and I had foot surgery. And as soon as I was cleared to leave the house, one of the gals from the laughter club would pick me up and take me to laughter club. And I could sit in a chair and participate. I mean, you don't have to participate in laughter yoga. You literally don't have to be anything except willing to say yes. It's good for all ages, all physical types, anybody and everybody. And I love that it is sort of like the great equalizer. So it doesn't matter, what your physical capacity is, what your mental capacity is. Can you go along for this ride in the next 45 to 60 minutes? Then you're doing it.
Yeah.
It has been a minute since I've been to a laughter yoga class. And Amy, I heard you say you do it online.
I do.
Okay, we're going to put a link to that in our show notes for our listeners. But can you tell folks how they find you?
Oh, sure. It's adventure-project.com.
All right, adventure-project.com. And I was just this whole conversation. I've been having these memory bubbles kind of floating about the different times, like I've laughed so hard, like my stomach's hurt, or who I've been with, or the story my sister tells about the time she ate hummus and then went to yoga. And, right? Any of us that have been to yoga before know what happened there. One of my favorite stories of all time, not mine to tell, but it makes me laugh just thinking about it. And I just think about the connections with those people that I can go years without talking to them, and then we see each other and we instantly fall into it because the shared connection of laughter and how powerful those moments are in our lives.
That's how I feel about improv classes. Like, I'm still friendly with people from improv classes I took when I first moved to Denver in like 2007.
Yeah.
And a lot of my students continue, to take the next level because of the way the activities that we're doing make it so easy to bond with the people around them. And so they're like a tight unit and they want to continue to do the work. They have no intention of ever performing. They're not doing it for that. They're doing it for the community and the transformational power.
Yeah.
And as I'm getting ready to launch a new level 1 next week, what you said made me laugh, because I'm getting these questions from lots of gals who are asking me, I want to sign up for the beginning improv class, but I've never done anything like this before. I don't know if I could do anything like this. I'm middle-aged. I'm a curmudgeon. I'm going through menopause. And I'm like, believe it or not, I've heard all those things many times.
And that makes for some of the funniest improv too. Give me somebody who's having a power surge and let's improv. Absolutely.
And, the other thing is we all improvise every day because we have no idea what we're going to say, how we're going to say it, who we're going to say it to, what thing that was unexpected might come up. So imagine the fun of, getting some training in a fun, supportive environment where you'll make friends and laugh a lot doing it.
And I can say it's really interesting to me, the fact that this is a whole practice like this. Again, how I shared part of my story from middle school, knowing that I said, hey, I have to add laughter every single day. Like Christine said at the beginning, we cannot minimize that. That by itself, I think, makes it worth going to one of your classes. And there's 5 different levels they can go to, and increase with their group to add it to your life, especially with everything that's going on and how much access we have to different people and different stories. I think that a way to release that in a healthy way and add more joy can only help.
And you said such an important word, practice. Because does anybody ever wake up one morning and say like, well, I've arrived. I know all the improv things now.
No, right? Especially if it's improv.
Exactly. Well, I know that chick,
Right.
I am also going to put a link in our show notes. I know it's time for us to go to Wisdom in Action, but I didn't realize that laughter yoga started in India.
Oh yeah, it started
awesome.
It started with a medical doctor studying the benefits of laughter, and he told stale jokes day after day, and expected these poor people to continue laughing.
Not the poor people.
I mean, imagine the guy's not a comedian, so day 1 he tells jokes that are not good. Day 2, he tells the same jokes that weren't good on day 1.
Got it.
Day 3, the same. So he asks the question, who knows the difference between real laughter or fake laughter, the mind or the body? Just the mind. The benefits for the body are the same.
Oh, I love that. Well, I'm putting a link to that also in our show notes so folks can check it out, because I like to go deep on some of these things. And that is really cool, Amy.
I mean, he wrote a book.
What is it? Laughter yoga. Love it. And again, what you said, even if it's real or not, what I know too, especially with the psychology degree, sometimes if I'm not feeling it, I'll just smile, because, smiling will change those chemicals in the brain. So sometimes if I hadn't laughed that day, it might have needed to start as a fake laugh. And just like we sounded kind of practiced and it went into an authentic laugh, it's a quick transition.
Well, that's part of what Goldie does in the morning. Yeah. She does she rubs her cheeks. Yeah. And then turns her face into a smile. And it looks really ridiculous.
That's fine.
But this is, part
I love it, Amy.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to add it. Okay. So, ladies, if you have one wisdom in action for the week that's for the dimension, emotional and mental wellness, what are you working on?
I got one.
What's yours?
Let go. For me, as soon as I start letting go, then I start to feel the tension release from my neck and shoulders. And then I'm able to move from this face to to this face.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like, that tightness in the jaw,
Mm-hmm.
carrying things around.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a reminder, to practice that word again, practice.
Yeah.
Practice what I preach.
Mm. Ooh, I'm joining you, Amy. I think my hashtag is going to be laugh more.
Oh, I like that.
Laugh more.
Laugh more.
I actually want to say to y'all, it's I know I need it so much right now. I have this new app called Dailyo. It's like an app tracker. So you're like it's talking about emotional and mental wellness. Like you can put your goals in there, but you can just track like your water intake, your exercise, but you put a goal. And one of my goal right now is laugh. I'm on a 34-day streak, just so y'all know, of laughing every day.
Good.
So.
Oh, good. I thought you were going to say the opposite, and I was about to cry.
I know you weren't. I was the opposite too. Good job.
You remember I got those 3-year-old nibblings in my back pocket. So if I'm ever really stuck, I just do a FaceTime and it's on. So
with my niece. And is that your name for them, or do they call themselves that?
So my sister, she didn't know if she was having boys or girls, and nibblings is the gender neutral term for siblings. So they are my nibblings, and they always will be. So they know they're my nibblings, and they call me Tia. And so I am their Tia, and they are my nibblings. And it's a love affair for the ages. I write them books. We do all kinds of things together.
And they're coming down to Georgia soon.
They're coming to Georgia in a couple of weeks. It's going to be fun.
Okay, ladies. Mine is hashtag Goldies in the morning.
Oh!
Yes, I'm going to do it. Goldies in the morning. And that's because last time, Christine, my wisdom in action was not an action. So you guys can hold me accountable. If the hashtag is not actionable, we can change it to make sure that we're specific. But yeah, I'm going to do.
Shannon's going to get off this and she's going to go Google Goldie Hawn.
Oh, you know it.
Up this person.
Well, yes. I'm also putting her in our show notes because she had a laughter challenge. And so I'm putting her in our show notes for folks that are Shannon's age. They can find out who Goldie Hawn is.
Right?
I stayed at this retro motel for 2 nights in Charleston.
Yeah.
Just a few days ago. And when you go in your room, they have not Johnny Cash, Johnny Carson on. Shannon, you know who Johnny Carson is, right?
I've heard the name. I'm usually not the person to know people anyways, Amy. I'm usually not.
Okay, write them down too. But
okay, would you say Johnny Carson?
Johnny Carson, the episode that was on had Goldie Hawn on it. And at first I didn't recognize her because it was from, who knows how many years ago. And I looked at her and I said, oh my God, that beautiful blonde young woman is so familiar. And then it hit me. I must have been a kid when that episode was on. Shannon was but a seedling.
Right.
Yes.
Shout outs to Goldie Hawn for making us laugh for all these years. Anybody that makes us laugh. Thank you, Amy, for your work in the world. Yes. And I know when we did our coffee and chat, I'm like, we have to connect and do some work together because between your laughter, yoga, and improv and interplay, we got to create something fun. I think it would be a ton of fun. So
yes,
we got to create inner improv play laugh.
What Christine, you do?
Right?
Have fun with that idea. Yeah.
Amy, thank you so much for being with us. We are out of time, but we are so grateful to know you and be connected. And we just look forward to keeping up with you and what you're up to and come back and talk to us more.
I'd love to. And you gals are so fun and so easy to be around. So
thank you.
Make sure you keep, spreading yourself. Imagine you're in this basket.
Yes.
And you're spreading yourself from this basket.
Yes, I like it. Yeah. I just got pictures of rose petals with mine and Shannon's faces on them.
Beautiful rose petals.
Smells so nice.
You're laughing, right? Yeah.
Thank you so much for this laugh today. This was awesome, Amy. Thank you.
Definitely needed. Right on time. The perfect
Whoa, I
show
needed
with
that
Tamar.
today. Perfect show. Perfect show. So grateful, my friend, because you often make me laugh, and we laugh together and dance and play, and so grateful to be in this work with you.
Yeah. And like we said, we're talking about emotional, mental wellness. Your stuff that you shared with us, is not removed from me. We talk about it all the time, so me laughing in order to support you, you laughing when you support me, it's needed on both ends. So thank you for being here.
Absolutely. So we will be back next week, y'all.
Yes.
For episode,
cool.
What are we at, 108 next week?
I think it is 108. Let's see. Yes. No? 108 next week. Yes, it is.
There we go.
For social wellness. Thank you so much for joining us in our episode on spring and into happiness. We'll again see you live at 5 next week. In the meantime, don't forget,
be well,
be wise, and be whole. Peace.
Thanks for listening. This has been the Women Connected in Wisdom podcast. On air live on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern via Facebook and YouTube. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Be part of the conversation and get connected at womenconnectedinwisdom.com.